If you have been down on yourself because you feel like you haven't accomplished what you wanted to accomplish this past year, we're entering New Year's resolution season and you feel like you have been a failure because so many things you had said you would accomplish have not happened, I want you to tune into this episode because we're going to shift your perspective and show you that you really have had a wonderful life. Welcome to Persistent Purpose Podcast with MJ Hunter. I'm your host, Coach MJ. And today we are at episode 25 of our first season. We are one episode away from the end of the year. And we are also one episode away from what I call New Year's resolution season, when everybody makes promises to themselves about what they're going to accomplish in the coming year. But along with that also comes a feeling of what you did not accomplish this past year. Oftentimes, the new goals are informed by the goals that were not reached this past year. It can be very easy to come to the end of the year and you're looking at usually the last couple of months of the year and you're thinking about all that you did not accomplish. And it can be really easy to slip into a depressed feeling or a disappointed feeling of failure that you did not accomplish what you thought you had accomplished. As I was preparing for this episode, it reminded me of one of my favorite Christmas movies, which is It's a Wonderful Life by Frank Capra, starring Jimmy Stewart. And for those of you who know that story, you know that it's about a man who thought that his life was not worth living. He thought that he was worth more dead than alive because he had a life insurance policy and he didn't feel like he had accomplished anything else. And the premise of the movie is, he'd gone through his life, he grew up, he always wanted to do big things and move away from home and, conquer the world. And life kept him rooted in his hometown while friends and his brother went off to live great lives elsewhere. And he did not think that his life was worth living when some money was stolen from him and his uncle. And, there was going to be a scandal and there was going to be a fraud accusation and jail time and all of this. And so he went to kill himself. An angel intervened and showed him what his life would have been like, or what life would have been like had he not been born. Because he's thinking he never should have been born. It would have been better off. And we're able to see through and actually a very unique kind of lens that if he had never been born, his mother's life would have been different because the brother that he saved from dying as a child would have died. And so she would have had no children, though his wife would have become a spinster and had no children as well. His boss, when he was a child and had a job, would have gone to prison and would have been shamed for accidentally poisoning a child. And it just went on, showing him this is what life would have been like had you not lived. You really have had a wonderful life. And so then when he got out of that kind of fantasy sequence, he appreciated his life better. And, the whole movie ends with auld lang syne. I'm probably going to be watching that movie tomorrow. But it made me think about that a lot of times, and I'm not saying that you're thinking your life wasn't worth living because you haven't accomplished some things, but a lot of times it can be difficult when you're in your life every day and when you're in your own perspective to see what it would look like from an outside perspective or what it would feel like if you could just look at your life. He looked at his entire life, right? Or looked at life throughout what would have been his life if he had not been born. But it doesn't even take you looking through your entire life to see you really had a wonderful life this past year. I'm going to give you a couple of my favorite tips for how to remind yourself of how much you really did knock it out of the park. Because here's what's true. Most people don't know how to set goals. We talk a little bit about goal setting in a previous episode. I think it was a couple of episodes ago. We talk about goal setting. We talked about vision boards for sure. Most people don't know how to set a goal. We think it's just lose weight, get closer to God, start dating, hang out with friends, go on a trip. These kind of vague, statements that we make about what we want to accomplish. But vague statements, a goal that's vague is really just an idea. And we make vague statements, we get vague results, right? So most people don't even know how to set goals. So it's no wonder that you come to the end of the year and you got your little vision board that you might have made at a vision board party and nothing has been accomplished. And you're like, what is wrong? There's so many things. And if you haven't seen the episode about why vision boards are trash, go back and watch that. I think I did it 2 episodes ago. It might have been the last episode, but go back and look at that episode and you're going to see what you need to be doing with your vision instead. But it's no wonder that your goals were not achieved this past year. However, I would be hard pressed to imagine a person who would be watching a podcast like this one who has not accomplished something in your life. It may not have been everything that you wanted to accomplish this past year, but you did more than what you think. And you have to get out of yourself. You have to sit down with a objective look at your past year to say, hey, I really did have a wonderful life. So I call this doing your annual audit. You can call it a life audit, but there's a few places where you can go that has almost been a record keeping. It has been a record keeping of your life that you hadn't even intended for it to be that, but it's going to give you a bird's eye view of everything you've accomplished right at your fingertips. The first place, okay, so here's what you do. Here's what you do. I like to get a notebook. Here's one of my favorite notebooks. You can't hardly see it because the green screen, but it's green in color, so the green screen is not letting it be great, but it's a notebook. I got a notebook out. I did this today because today has been a less thrilling day so far, but I wanted to turn it around. So I said, you know what? I haven't done my annual audit yet. I have not done my 2024 audit. So I took a page and I said my 2024 in review, and there's like 6 pages that on each side of the page has one of the months of the year. So January, then I flipped it February, then March, then I flipped it April. So I just need one piece of paper for each month. And then what I did was I went to my calendar. So if you know me personally, you know I'm a really organized person. I live and die by not only my paper planner, but I also keep a Google calendar because I still keep a paper calendar because something in me is like, what if something happens to the cloud and Google goes away? All your dates are only there. I'm not ready to only have it there. Plus, there's some power, I think, in having it handwritten down, just like there's power in writing your vision down, right? With a pen and paper, not just typewritten in your phone or on a laptop, but actually handwriting. So I keep a paper calendar. And what I do, so I have this notebook, and each day has a different month on it. And I go back through my calendar starting back in January, and I look at everything that I have done. Now, when I say everything that I've done, I'm not talking about necessarily career accomplishments only. As a matter of fact, a lot of people's calendars won't necessarily reflect a lot of things you have done in your life. If you still have a job, you might be an entrepreneur or a business owner, but you also may have a job. A lot of those meetings and things, those might be on a work calendar that you don't control. So maybe that's not on your personal calendar, or maybe you just don't write everything down. But most people write down the special events and appointments in their lives. And each month I go through and I write down everything that I did or participated in that was outside of the norm. So, and what I mean by norm is just the day-to-day routine of working and, doing and taking care of your home and things like that. So any events that I went to, I wrote those down. Anytime I showed up for a family member or a friend, I wrote that down. Anytime, I have on here when I volunteered at a local charity, I wrote that down. When I was spending time with my mentee, I wrote that down. I had a friend that I was helping back in January to do some things in her business. I wrote that down. The fact that I had a girls' night in my house, I wrote that down. I attended a master class about public speaking, which is one of the things I love to do. I wrote that down. I went month by month, even I won't even say even, but fun activities, write that down. The reason why you're doing this is a lot of times when you get a couple months out from something, you forget. Most people don't have a ready recall of every detail of every day of their lives. I mean, that's kind of extraordinary if a person can do that. So you forget how many good times that you have. You forget how many people you showed up for, how much you showed up for yourself. In March, I was able to plan and host my amazing, successful Thrive 502 conference. I will never forget that I did that for my 50th birthday. I wrote down that I had a 50th birthday. All of your, so this is, if you're starting to see a theme here, this is really a very fancy gratitude journal slash greatness gallery. Greatness gallery is what I call your celebrations. Everything you are writing down to celebrate things you've done, big and not as big, because everything is big in your life. All of the things that you do, everything you participate in is a part of the tapestry of your life that makes up who you are. So you have to write those things down. So as I'm writing, I wrote down that I stayed consistent with counseling. Here's the thing. At the end, after the December page, I got all the way to a page that I call consistency all year long. And so there's some things that you do on a consistent basis, and that is what you are celebrating. So I walked every day for 365 days. I started December 15th of last year. And from then to this very day, I have walked outside for 30 minutes every single day without fail, Sunday through Saturday, cold and hot, rainy, snowy. I did that for myself, and it has been magnificent. Comment below if you are a walker. Comment below if you love being outdoors. Comment below if you have a daily wellness routine. I wrote that down, though. I wrote down that as of today, I have consistently, weekly, shown up for 25 episodes of this podcast. There are some places in your life where you have not been consistent, but there are places where you have been. And writing those down, you can remember how much you have knocked it out of the park. Stop beating yourself up. You have lived a wonderful life this year. Meeting up with friends at least a couple of times every month. That's on my consistency all year page. Mentoring my little sister. I was in the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program through July, mentoring her, showing up for her. I was proud of that. Even though I did have to end that particular thing, I was proud of that. And so just whatever it is that you did, again, you're going through right now, we're just going through your calendar. If you are just a digital calendar user, it's easy to do. Everything you did, even classes you attended, meetings you went to, organizations you supported. I'm a part of Indiana Black Expo Jeffersonville chapter. I wrote down some key moments from that. All the fun events, all the festivals I attended, because showing up faithfully to even do the things that are your hobbies is an important part of what makes you you. And if you don't do your hobbies, like I love to hike, and I realized up to a couple months ago, I hadn't hiked most of the year. And so I got out there and I did a couple of hikes Thanksgiving week. Showing up in those ways for yourself is also a part of success. And so we have to redefine success as not just being, I made this amount of money, or I had this many customers, or I sold this many products, or whatever it is you do professionally, but also look at the ways you showed up for yourself, the ways you showed up for your community, because a well-balanced, well-rounded person does that as well. It's not just about your career or your income or your business. It's also about how you showed up. And so that's one place where there's irrefutable proof that you knocked it out the park. When I started writing these things down and places I traveled to that I had kind of forgot about, stuff I started learning about, options trading was something I got into this year. Once I started looking at those things, I got more excited. I got more celebratory. Like, yes, I really did knock it out the park. No, I did not meet every goal I wanted to meet, but I met a lot of stuff. Now, I will tell you, a lot of the things I've written here in this notebook are not things that were goals. So what this is going to help me do as I look at, here's what I actually did this year, as opposed to what I thought I would do. Now this can inform some new goals. So one of my new goals for the year will be to continue hanging out with friends at least 2 times a month, because that was a part of what made my life have color, made my life have depth and excitement. And I felt so renewed every time I hang out with my girlfriends. I love it because it's so energizing. I don't want to do another year but not have that be a part of my life. So as you are thinking through your goals for the next year, put that stuff that's not about, I want to make this much money, I want to lose this much weight. Yes, put that stuff. Yes, put the stuff about fitness. That's important. Yes, put the things about your business or about your career, but also put things about how you show up for your family. If there's an organization you're a part of, make sure you put that on your goals list that you want to continue to participate, whatever those things are. Make sure that you write down. So again, this is not just about what you would typically think of as accomplishments, but it's also about what you participated in, places that you went, fun that you had. And if you enjoyed those things, because as I was writing these things down, I started getting excited and remembering those good times. And here's where the second tip is going to come in. The second place where you can visually get reminders of what you did is in your phone. In your phone is a record of, for most people, if you take pictures with your phone, is a record of your life, because most people snap at least a couple pictures everywhere they go if they're enjoying themselves. Go back to January. I know on an iPhone, well, on my Samsung as well, you can scroll back. It'll tell you what month you've scrolled back to. Go back to January and just look at what you took pictures of. Who did you see? Write those names down. Or just generally say, I hung out with my sorority, my fraternity. I went to dinner with someone. Just write the stuff down. This may not seem important, but it is. Because again, most people forget the things that really give your life value, but that's what's recorded on your calendar and in your phone. Go through and look at those pictures. The visual reminders will also help to not only remind you of how wonderful your life has really been, but it will also inform things you want to make sure you do next year, just like the calendar did. If you see a lot of times when you did social things and maybe in 2023 you didn't do as much of that, and so now you're seeing the evidence that you hung out with people more, and yet it did not hurt the other parts of your life that were important, your business or what have you, make it one of your goals to continue to do those things. One of my hobbies is going to festivals, street festivals and fairs and events like that, especially outdoors ones. So make sure, those are the things I enjoy. And I have a separate calendar that feeds into my regular Google Calendar, where I keep track of every annual event that I go to, and I have it on a recurrence. So I do not miss Greek Fest. I don't miss World Fest. I don't miss Harvard's Homecoming. I'm not going to miss St. James Court Art Show. I'm not going to miss Street Ride Festival, the, the National Street Ride Association event that's here in Louisville. I'm not going to miss those things because I put them on my calendar, any of those annual events. And it has helped to lighten my mood, to bring my feelings up to where I'm like, yes, I have accomplished way more than I didn't accomplish. And it will help. It's helping to inform what my goals will be in 2025. So I hope that helps. I hope that encourages you. I want to encourage you to go through your calendar and go through your photos and mark page by page, month by month, everything that you participated in, whether it was an event or an activity or an appointment, a class, a conference, an accomplishment, a charity event, anything. Write down those major events. Write down those major pieces of your life. You really have had a wonderful life. I have really lived a wonderful life this year. And we need to be reminded of that so that we don't just go pushing into 2025 like 2024 was a waste. Now let me go to this new, fresh year. No. It wasn't a waste. You did a lot. You just need to remember what that lot looked like. Another place you can go, and you just have to be careful that you don't get sidetracked, is on social media. If you're an Instagram user, the Reels profile grid, the post profile grid is a great place because you can scroll through 6 to 9 different ones in one shot and just see what you might have posted that was an encouragement or that was funny. Showing up consistently on social media for my business owners, whether you're talking about your business or saying something personal, encouraging people, making people laugh, that's important. There's a lot of darkness in the world right now. We need people that are shining a bright light. Are you one of the people shining a bright light? That's something to celebrate. I'm not kidding. We need to write those things down. Go through your Instagram. Go through your Facebook photos and videos. It's easier to go through your photos because, again, there's a lot of them that show in one page versus, well, you can scroll through all your posts, but I have literally hundreds of posts, so I'm not scrolling through that. But looking on your photos and videos, that can show you very easily. If you are a big YouTube poster, go out there and just see, hey, I showed up consistently on my social media. But we're looking for what you personally contributed. So look through those places. TikTok, if you are a big TikToker, look back through there. Look at the fact that you showed up. For me, showing up consistently since I think August, posting content regularly on TikTok and on LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram. I'm everywhere and YouTube. That was an accomplishment. Is showing up like that. I'm writing that in my notebook. Now I can say I was a success. I wasn't saying I wasn't a success, but now I have irrefutable, specific evidence of the successes that I had. And that's lightening my load and making me feel so much better on today. So I hope that helps. I want you to tune in next week for the last episode of season 1 of Persistent Purpose podcast with MJ Hunter. However, I will be doing a slight rebrand in the new year to incorporate some additional topics and subject matters in the same platform. So I will still be showing up. For all I know, I'm going to be keeping the same time of Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, but we're going to be probably doing not only a rebrand, probably going to be doing a renaming. I'm still deciding, but we're going to be incorporating more of the branding and the social marketing and some of those other topics that I talk about regularly on my other platforms. We're going to be doing the long form trainings and things of that nature here as well. So I want you to stay with me. Thank you so much to those who have supported me so far in 2024. Like, comment, share, subscribe if you are new here. And I'm looking forward to our last episode. And I do want to give you one giveaway if you don't already have this one. So I have an 11-page Canva marketing playbook. I know I'm kind of jumping the shark and going somewhere completely different, but I want to get this out to you for my people who want to use Canva as a tool for your marketing, for your branding, and you need help kind of organizing your thoughts and organizing your approach to using Canva. Go out and get my free 11-page Canva marketing playbook at melaniehunter.com/playbook. And then I want you to write to me. You can email me. You can comment below. Let me know how you like it. It's a place where you can go out, and it's one thing to know what you need to create. It's another thing to kind of organize your thoughts and know what questions do I need to ask when I'm creating a presentation or creating a flyer or working on an infographic or whatever those other artifacts are that your business produces. You need to be able to organize those. And one of the best places to get started is with my Canva marketing playbook. So again, melaniehunter.com/playbook is where you can download that free guide today. So until next time, take care and continue to pursue